In 1959, 9 experienced hikers entered the Ural Mountains. Only their bodies would return. This is the story of the Dyatlov Pass Incident, one of the most chilling and perplexing mysteries of the 20th century. What happened to these 9 young Soviets on that frozen, desolate mountainside remains a subject of intense debate and speculation even today. Let's journey back to the winter of 1959, into the heart of a mystery that has baffled investigators for over 6 decades. Our story begins in the Soviet Union. A group of 10 students and graduates from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, all seasoned hikers with Grade 2 certification, set out on a challenging expedition. Their goal was to trek across the northern Urals and reach Otorten Mountain, a journey classified as Category 3, the highest difficulty rating. The group was led by 23-year-old Egor Dyatlov, an experienced and respected leader. The team was a tight-knit bunch, 7 men and 2 women, all in their early 20s, full of life and adventure. One member, Yuri Yudin, was forced to turn back early due to illness, a decision that would ultimately save his life. He said goodbye to his friends, having no idea he would be the last person to see them alive. The remaining 9 continued their journey, documenting their progress with cameras and diaries. Their photos paint a picture of camaraderie and high spirits. We see them smiling, skiing through the vast, snowy landscapes, and setting up camp. Everything seemed to be going according to plan. On February 1st, they began their ascent of Kholat Syakhl, a mountain whose name, in the local Mansi language, ominously translates to Dead Mountain. Due to worsening weather conditions, with heavy snowfall and strong winds, they deviated from their planned route and decided to set up camp on the mountain's slope. Their last diary entry made on that day was cheerful and routine. It was the last communication the world would ever receive from the Dyatlov group. They were scheduled to send a telegram from their destination by February 12th. When no message came, their families weren't immediately alarmed. Delays were common on such difficult expeditions. But as days turned into weeks, concern grew into full-blown panic. On February 20th, a volunteer search party of students and teachers was dispatched, soon followed by military planes and helicopters. What they found on February 26th was not a scene of a simple hiking accident. It was the beginning of an enigma. On the slope of Kholat Syakhl, searchers discovered the group's tent. It was half buried in snow and eerily empty. But the most disturbing detail was how it was abandoned. The tent had been sliced open from the inside, not unzipped, but cut and torn open as if the occupants were in a desperate, frantic hurry to escape something within the tent itself. Inside, all their belongings, warm clothes, shoes, supplies, and even money, were left behind, neatly arranged. Outside the tent, a trail of footprints led down the slope toward a nearby forest. The footprints were made by 8 or 9 individuals, some wearing only socks, others completely barefoot, in temperatures that plummeted to as low as -30 degrees Celsius. It was clear they had fled in a state of sheer terror, abandoning their shelter and essential gear in the deadly cold. The first 2 bodies were found about a mile away, at the edge of the forest, beneath a large pine tree. Yuri Krivonishenko and Yuri Doroshenko were found shoeless and dressed only in their underwear. Next to them were the remains of a small fire. The branches on the pine tree above them were broken up to 5 meters high, suggesting one of them had tried to climb it, perhaps to get a better view or to escape from something below. 3 more bodies were discovered between the pine tree and the tent site, positioned as if they were trying to return to camp. Igor Dyatlov, Zenata Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodin were found at different intervals. Slobodin had a fractured skull, though it was initially deemed non-fatal. It seemed they had succumbed to hypothermia while trying to make it back to the relative safety of their tent. For 2 long months, the search continued for the remaining 4 hikers. Their bodies were finally discovered in May, after the snow began to melt. They were found in a ravine, buried under 4 meters of snow, about 75 meters from the pine tree. And this is where the mystery deepens into the realm of the truly bizarre. These 4, Nicholas Thibault-Brignol, Ludmila Dubinina, Alexander Zolotarev, and Alexander Kolevatov, had suffered catastrophic internal injuries, the kind a doctor compared to the force of a high-speed car crash. Thibault-Brignol had a major skull fracture. Dubinina and Zolotarev had multiple crushed ribs. Yet remarkably, their bodies showed almost no external signs of trauma. There were no bruises or soft tissue damage that would typically accompany such violent injuries. The strangeness didn't end there. Ludmila Dubinina was found missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her lips. Alexander Zolotarev was missing his eyeballs. While some investigators later attributed this to natural decomposition and scavenging animals in the watery ravine, the specifics remain unsettling. To add another layer of high strangeness, forensic tests revealed that the clothing of 2 of the hikers contained significant levels of radioactive contamination. The official investigation was abruptly closed in May 1959. The final report concluded that the hikers had died as a result of a compelling unknown force. The files were sent to a secret archive, and the area was closed to public for 3 years. This vague and unsatisfying conclusion only fueled decades of speculation. So what could this compelling unknown force have been? Let's explore the most prominent theories. The first and most scientifically plausible explanation is an avalanche. A specific type known as a slab avalanche could have struck the tent, causing a panic. The sound of the cracking snow slab could have been mistaken for something terrifying, prompting the hikers to cut their way out and flee. The internal injuries could have been caused by the crushing weight of the snow. However, critics of this theory point out several inconsistencies. The tent wasn't buried or flattened in a way consistent with a major avalanche. The footprints leading away from the tent were orderly, not a chaotic scramble. Furthermore, experienced hikers like Dyatlov would have been unlikely to camp in an avalanche-prone area. Another popular theory involves secret military activity. The area was known to be used for weapons testing by the Soviet military. Could the hikers have accidentally stumbled upon a secret test of a new weapon, perhaps a concussive or radiological device? This could explain the powerful, traceless injuries and the radioactive contamination found on their clothes. Strange lights and glowing orbs were reportedly seen in the sky by other people in the region around the same time. This theory suggests the hikers witnessed something they weren't supposed to see and were either eliminated by military forces or became collateral damage of a test gone wrong. The subsequent cover-up and classified files certainly lend credibility to this idea. Then we enter the realm of more unusual explanations. One fascinating theory is infrasound. This is sound at a frequency below the range of human hearing, which can be generated by certain wind patterns, like a Kármán vortex street forming around Kholat-Syakhl. Exposure to intense infrasound has been documented to cause feelings of intense anxiety, dread, and panic, as well as physical symptoms like shortness of breath and nausea. Could a natural infrasound phenomenon have driven the hikers into an irrational, panic-stricken state, causing them to flee their tent and succumb to the elements? This could explain their bizarre behavior without invoking any external attacker. And of course, no mystery of this magnitude is complete without theories of the unknown. Some have speculated about an encounter with a creature, perhaps a yeti or another cryptid said to roam the Siberian wilderness. Others point to the strange lights in the sky as evidence of a UFO encounter. The local Mansi people have legends about the area being home to powerful spirits, and that the hikers may have trespassed on sacred ground. While these theories lack concrete evidence, they persist because the known facts are so difficult to reconcile. The combination of rational flight and irrational panic, of environmental exposure and violent, unexplainable trauma, creates a puzzle where no single piece seems to fit. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the case, conducting a new investigation with modern technology. Their official conclusion was that a slab avalanche was the most likely cause, combined with poor visibility that caused the hikers to get lost after fleeing. They created simulations to show how a slab of snow could have slid down, causing fear but not completely burying the tent. However, this conclusion has been met with skepticism by many, including the families of the hikers and independent researchers who feel it fails to explain the severe internal injuries and the radiation. The Dyatlov Pass Incident is a story that refuses to be forgotten. It's a perfect storm of unsettling details. The tent cut from the inside, the barefoot flight into the frozen darkness, the horrific yet invisible injuries, the radiation, and the official secrecy. Each clue seems to lead down a different path, and each theory, whether scientific or supernatural, leaves unanswered questions. Perhaps the final, haunting diary entry from the group holds a clue. From now on, we know that the snow-covered slopes are not so scary, and you can go up and down on them as much as you like, a sentiment full of confidence and hope, just before they encountered a terror that would seal their fate. More than 60 years later, we are no closer to a definitive answer. The 9 bodies returned from the mountain, but the truth, it seems, never did. The story of Igor Dyatlov and his friends serves as a chilling reminder that some places in the world hold secrets we may never unravel. As we look at the smiling faces in their last photographs, we are left to wonder and to speculate about their final, terrifying moments on the slopes of Dead Mountain. Some mysteries are never meant to be solved. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into one of history's greatest unsolved cases. If you find these kinds of stories as fascinating as I do, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more explorations into the unknown. What do you think happened on that mountain? Let me know your theories in the comments below. Stay curious and see you next time.